What I will ask you to do today is slowly. So my name is Injy Shami. You can tell I have a foreign name, and I use that as an icebreaker wherever I go. So I want you to pay attention to what I say today, and I don't want you to be intrigued by my accent or my name. So I'll go over that for a few seconds and then give you a little bit of my background. Injy, in case you're wondering, is a Turkish name, which just means pearl in Turkish. Why do I have a name like that? I was born and raised in Egypt. My parents had common American names, and they wanted my brother and I to fit in. They gave us Arabic names. Guess where we both live? In the United States. We have to explain our name all day long. Shami means you come from Sham. It's the old name of Syria and Lebanon. So anybody from the Middle East that sees this name knows exactly where I am. It's like being John Californian. Guess where he's from? My accent, I'm trilingual. I speak French, English, and Arabic fluently. And I learn English with Irish nuns. Poor me. French is my first language, so if you hear a little bit of French, that's where it's from. I did go to school for 20 years in English. I have a BA and a master's degree from the American University in Cairo. I moved here 25 years ago. San Rafael is my home. I've been in business development, relationship management. I've been a banker. I've been in sales. So all my life, I've had to be comfortable speaking with people. I had my first public speech at the age of 20 in college. My professor asked me to present a subject matter that I had my master's in, and I was terrified. And somebody in the audience liked it so much that he went back to his universities in Holland and invited me to come speak at the University of Amsterdam and University of Delft at the age of 22. Very nerve-wracking. So, that's me. I'm going to put you guys on the spot a little bit today. I want this to be cooperative. I want it to be a workshop. I'm not here to preach anything you don't know. I don't have any magic potion. So work with me. Interrupt me all the time. Please ask me questions. You don't need to raise your hand. Just tell me what you want to know. Any questions so far?
15 seconds, that's going to be a challenge.
I'm not speaking for 15 seconds. You need to learn to speak in 15 seconds. So I will be asking some volunteers to come and help me out. This is a quick agenda. I want you to know it's okay. What you're going through is totally normal. I want you to listen to what you should and shouldn't do. Some things may hit home and you go, oh, I do this all the time. Thank you, Injy, for bringing it up. I'm going to give you some step-by-step suggestions. Again, nothing magic. And I'm going to talk about enthusiasm, attitude, control, and courage. So these are the 4 things I want you to remember when you leave today. Volunteers coming up. Somebody forgot to put their phone on. Before I do my presentation, I'd like to invite 2 of you to do their elevator pitch. Would anybody be uncomfortable if I call out on them? And if you are, we'll go to the next person. You okay with that? I don't want to put you on the spot. Okay. Come on.
Come on down.
Come on down. You'll even get a prize. I'll give you a hug of encouragement. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go. I'm Mediterranean. So the point here is that I cannot video and film each one of you. But I thought if we worked with 1 or 2 people before the presentation, listen to the PowerPoints, and then maybe ask you at the end to do it again if you'd like, then perhaps we can all work and learn from each other. Does that sound good to you?
Okay.
Okay, so pretend I'm Norma, and this is your turn to do your elevator pitch.
Well, I'm an executive assistant, and what I do is to help my boss do his job better. I have a background in finance, in software, and in property management and real estate.
I am a IT consultant professional specializing in the health industry. I am looking for something related to HIPAA. Specifically, I'm looking for companies like Kaiser, any other HMO that would fit that consulting need.
So I just wanted to set the stage and pick 2 examples of what people do or say or act, body language, tone of voice, etc. Then I'm going to go through my presentation, and then I'll ask both of them, if they wish, to come back and redo it and see if I have helped make a difference. Make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. these meetings before. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Your turn is coming up. Your heart is beating out of your chest. You're thinking, do I sit in the front? Is Norma going to call on the front row first? Do I sit in the back so I can get a chance to listen to what other people are saying? Are you even listening to what people are saying? It's like when you have questions in class and you raise your hand and all you can think of is, he's going to call on me, I better remember what my question is, and you don't hear anything the professor is saying. Does that ring a bell to anyone here?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that sound familiar? I got a few yeses. So that's the idea. I want you to know it is okay. It's okay, we all go through this. It doesn't matter what your background is or how often you've done this. It's okay. Even though some of us have been presenting publicly for years, and I said I started at 20, I didn't tell you how old I was. I've been doing it quite a while. We can all hear our hearts beating out of our chest. Whatever it is, it comes up in your voice. Sometimes your voice doesn't even come up. Or you start playing with coins in your pocket. Somehow you're nervous, you're sweating, you're playing with your hands, whatever the case may be. However, once you start, think of yourself as an actor on stage. I am here on stage in front of you. I don't have room to be nervous. My adrenaline kicks in. I am here to tell you exactly what I'm here to tell you. Does anyone have a hard time the last 5 seconds when it's your turn to get up? Does anyone think it's no big deal to get up and make their elevator pitch? 2 people in the room, 3, 4. Okay.
It's not as big a deal as it once was. I mean, the first probably month or so, it was really
Nerve-wracking.
difficult to do, and with more practice, it's gotten easier.
Okay.
I mean, I don't dread it the way I once did.
So would it be fair to say it doesn't come to you naturally,
Yes.
but as you practiced, you became an expert at it?
Well, better. I wouldn't call myself an expert.
But I was trying to compliment you. Did I succeed?
Yes.
Okay. It's all about how you feel. It's very important about how you feel.
Yeah.
So, adrenaline kicks in. I want you to remember it's your turn to shine. When you get up in this room or in any other environment you're in, and you're up speaking, everybody is quiet listening to you. It is your turn to shine. Don't forget that. Let that be a tool for you to feel good, courageous, positive, and enthusiastic. The do's and don'ts. I was told, you're going to go speak to these people and tell them what? We're all professionals. We've all worked 10 years or more. We're all 40 years or above. The criteria, right, Norma? So we know what we're doing. However, when it's our turn to speak, everyone, or some of us, get totally frozen. Introduce yourself clearly. I wish I could have recorded everybody today. Not everybody in this room introduces themselves clearly. One of us was so nervous she forgot to introduce herself. It's okay. There's always a chance to catch up. There's no right or wrong. Do introduce yourself clearly. If you have a name like mine, spell it. At any networking event, at any party, I go up and say, hi, I'm Injy, I-N-J-Y. People look at me like, excuse me? And they go, oh, she just spelled her name. So now they visualize it. Now they know what my name is. They can remember it. Make eye contact. I was once in a theater in college, and one thing I remember, excuse me, is to look at your audience. I can't look at all of you, but as I speak, I will pick people in the audience and address myself to them. So I look at Janet, and she knows I'm talking to her. I look at Pat, and he knows I'm talking to him. It's very important. Somebody in this room got up and did their elevator pitch and was looking at the ceiling. This is part of your comfort. You need to work on eye contact. It's very important. Again, no magic, just things you need to think about. Project your voice. Norma asked me if she could put the fan. She says, are you going to be able to speak above the noise that the fan makes? And my reaction was, I'd better, because that's what I'm here to talk about. So if you get up and you start talking like this, do you think anybody in the background can hear me?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
Point taken. And today I was sitting in the front row. Some people in the back did not project their voice. I couldn't hear them. I have question mark last name, or I have their job. I couldn't get what they were saying. You know your name, of course, but do we all know your name? Absolutely not. It's a simple thing. Speak up, okay? Speak slowly. How many of you have met somebody at a networking event, and I work in CRM and the OBG and the this and the ABCD and I do that, and you're like, huh? So IT folks in the room, if you meet somebody else who's in IT, knows exactly the software you're familiar with, it's going to hit home. But if it's something similar, you are going to not be able to follow what they're saying. So please project your voice and speak slowly. Use terms everyone outside your specialty field can understand. More do's. Take a deep breath. And I say deep with a lot of ease to emphasize. Before you get up, take a deep breath. It's very important. Think of it as you're diving in a pool. With one breath, you need to cross the width of the pool. You want to use that oxygen wisely, true? In your elevator pitch, you want to use your 15 seconds very wisely. Make your point. Make your point. Get to your target swiftly. Don't stand there and go, oh my God, what do I have to tell them again today? Make your point. You need to know that. How many people get up and you listen to them and you're like, what exactly do these people want? Nothing is worse than having your audience wonder after you've finished, what exactly are you looking for? Does that happen to you at networking events or even here? Practice by listening to someone and try to paraphrase what they're looking for. If you can, you know what to avoid. So if you take the audience today, if you heard 3 or 4 people and then when they sat down you had no idea what they wanted, you know exactly what you shouldn't be doing. Again, this is not magic, guys. This is something we all think about, but when it's our turn to get up and do it, guess what? We don't all succeed. Be yourself. How simple is that? Can we all be ourselves at all times? Can we get nervous and not be ourselves? It's okay. Be yourself. Think of it before you get up, before you shake hands or hug. Be yourself. Hugging. I'm Mediterranean. I'm okay with hugging. People are like, don't get into my space. So I even sometimes have to ask people, is it okay for me to hug you? The worst thing you can do is to pretend to be somebody you're not. It doesn't matter what your level is in a company. If you are pretending that you're somebody you're not, it will show right away. I know it sounds pretty basic, but it shows. You won't be using the right terms. Somebody's going to find out, call you on it. Do not attempt that. Be confident. Whatever your position is, it does not matter. Just be confident. As I'm here speaking with you today, some of you may be sitting going, what is she going to come share that I don't do already? Like I said at the beginning, this is no magic. This is a reminder that I've done this for a few years, and you may know a lot of this, but do you actually practice it, is my point. Now the don'ts, and gets a little bit more uncomfortable. I'm getting some smiles already in the room, because everybody's going, oh God. Don't use jargon and acronyms. I mentioned this earlier. It's the worst thing when people don't understand. I had to come up and present in front of my new boss in Boston a year and a half ago. I was the 13th person that day to present. It was 5:15 in the afternoon, and the people couldn't wait to get out of the room. Nods? Guess what I did? I got up.
Extra sparkle.
And I started presenting in Arabic.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Got their attention.
right away.
I can start and do this right here. Suddenly people looked up and go, what? And then I joked, to your point. And I'm like, sorry, wrong language. And then I shifted to French. And they go, okay, we get it. Can we get to the point? The fact is, it was 5:15. I finally had their attention.
You woke them up.
I woke them up. Trust me, after 12 other presenters, 5:15, they're all ready for cocktails. It's like, get on with it, kiddo. Okay?
Brilliant.
So don't use jargon or acronyms. Don't talk fast. I already have a different accent. If I were talking this fast, you would be able to, you know. You don't want to do that. You know what you're saying. The people in the room don't. Don't assume they do. Don't talk fast. This is very basic. You guys are professionals. You know all of this. Some of you do this, and I don't want to point to people in the room. Hands in the pocket as you speak publicly. Bad idea. Playing with coins. Terrible idea. Think about it. If you don't know what to do with your hands, put them behind your back. Keep them on your side. Don't overdo it. Don't put them in your hands. Find the right thing to do. I've been to classes where they video you, and it's mortifying to see yourself afterwards. Nods, laughs. Anybody recognizes that behavior? I did want to comment that 7 people in this room got up and started speaking like this. Do you know yourself? Do you even know you're doing this? One of you was like that. Talk about a friendly attitude. Do I want to give you a job if you're telling me about what you want to do like this? This is simple. But I'm here for that, to bring these things to your attention. Think of me as the quality inspector on people's communication skills. I want to help corporations do that because they can hire people for their specific qualifications, but they may need help with, do you have the right people skills, the right communication? So think of how many examples we just heard about of things you do with your hands that you shouldn't be doing. And next time, go ahead.
Keys are just as distracting as coins.
Thank you. I totally agree with you, but it's a sign of nervousness. It's like click, 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 click. I gave advice to somebody that I interviewed with who said to me, how are you so comfortable in an interview? I said, because I've had a lot of training. He goes, help me, I'm going to the government next week, and I'm petrified to present. I gave him a clue that I learned from a movie. Put a paper clip in your pocket. It doesn't make any noise. You can put one hand in your pocket and play with it like a petting stone if you need to. It doesn't make any noise. He wrote me 2 weeks later and said it worked. So, don't assume everyone knows what you're about to say. We all are here to do our elevator pitch. We all are going to follow Norma's directions. We know you're going to give your name. We're going to hear what companies you want contacts in. And you are going to be very tempted to tell us where you've worked before and how marvelous you are, although she told us not to, but we all do it. And then you're going to give your name again. A lot of people forget to give their name again. So we don't know what you're going to say. Give us a chance to listen. Make good use of your 15 seconds. More don'ts. Are you nervous when you talk? Anyone?
Yeah.
Some people in this room are not nervous when they talk. You're courageous souls, or you won't share. I'm not filming you. I'm on video, but I'm not filming you, so I don't know if you're nervous when you talk. Do you go on and on and on and on until the person in front of you goes, oh my God, can I move on to the next person now? This is a networking event. Yes? Have you ever been in the situation where you're really not interested to speak to somebody and you're trying to be polite and they go on and on and on? That is because you are nervous. You're interested about your field and you keep talking and you'll go on and on and on. Avoid that. Big one. Do you hear yourself saying and you know? Who here thinks they don't say or you know? What do you think is better? To have a pause or to fill it in with or you know?
Pause.
Right. It sounds better to have a pause. But then again, it brings up the other side, which makes me kind of search for what I'm going to say next.
And that's okay.
But that, I guess what I try to do is try to make sure I get to the point as quickly as possible without kind of pushing myself.
Okay, listen to what you just told me. You're trying to get your point across as quickly as possible. You need to find the right speed. Because if you speak very quickly and I'm listening to you, I don't have time to understand your jargon, your goal, what you're trying to tell me. I listen, I still need to understand and interpret it. If you say it very quickly, or if you can't stop and you fill it in with or you know, I get very distracted personally. And that's really what I'm saying here. Go back to basics. Remember your grammar teacher in school. Remember when you wrote these ongoing sentences and the teacher would say, Time out. Make them shorter. Take a break. Break them down into shorter ones. Can you see from back there? I can read those. Remember when you learned grammar in school and your teacher said, keep your sentences short and break down long sentences into shorter ones? Well, the same principle applies here. Stop. Breathe. Remember my advice? Breathe. Think about what you're going to say next. Then move on to the next sentence. So to your point, don't feel that because you've paused, it's a bad thing. Don't think of it as, oh my God, I'm nervous now because I can't think of the next thing to say, so I'm going to or I'm going to say, you know. It's 10 times worse. Don't do that. When you fill your sentences with you know, it's very distracting. I am tempted to tell people talking to me, no, I don't know. Will you stop telling me you know, because I don't know. Get to your point. What are you trying to tell me? I'm getting chuckles in the back. Does that happen to you? I lose attention of what they're trying to tell me because all I'm going is like, stop saying you know, stop saying get to your point. Two gestures that I often notice are people going like this or like that. If a woman has bangs, they play with their bangs. Or it's behind the ear. No one's perfect. It's okay to be nervous. You just need to figure it out and work something out. So again, this is just ideas. It's not no magic. Any other questions? 4 things I'd like you to remember from today's presentation. Enthusiasm. It is extremely important. We have one gentleman in this room who's looking down and taking notes. That is extremely enthusiastic. Do you know who that is?
The elevator guy.
When you leave the room, if you remember no one from this room, you will remember the elevator guy. Could you even have imagined you'd get excited about elevators coming to a presentation? Come on. He is enthusiastic. I got hired on my last job on the phone without meeting my boss from Boston because of my enthusiasm. Remember that on your next interview, or in your next elevator pitch, or in your next networking event. Be enthusiastic. It's extremely important. It's going to come naturally when you talk about something you're passionate about. Who here goes sailing? Who likes golf? Who does needlework? So everybody here has something they're passionate about. Talk to yourself in the mirror, or your neighbor, or your friend about your passion. And I am sure that you're not going to hesitate, you're not going to you're not going to be nervous, and you're going to be enthusiastic. Your passion will come across. Wait until I tell you when I went sailing. Let me tell you about the new stitch I learned. Yes? Don't be shy. Easy for me to say? You won't be if you're talking about something you love. If I were to put you on the spot right now and ask David to give us 15 seconds about sailing, would you do it? David?
Oh, I'm rusty now.
Who are the other sailing folks? Bob, can you get up and give us 15-second sailing pitch?
Sure.
Has nothing to do with networking.
Sure.
Tell us about sailing, please.
Well, one of the great things about sailing is that you have to concentrate all the time. And so you can't be thinking about going to get a job or what's on your shopping list or whatever, especially if you sail in San Francisco. There's lots of currents. The winds are incredible. And the fun part about it is everybody else is as confused about the situation as you are. So once you get out and start doing it, you'll really enjoy it. I recommend it.
Thank you. Who here is not excited about sailing after listening to him? Did he say Did he play with coins in his pocket? Did he have to stop and think about what's the next thing he wants to say and pause? Absolutely not. Do you want to try it with needlepoint? Or cross-stitching? Or the golf folks? Who was playing golf? Come on, guys. This is, everybody gets a chance to shine.
Golf is one of those things that you do mostly as a social event. If you take it really seriously and practice all the time and try to be on the tour, that's one thing. But for most of us in business, 4 hours on the golf course is maybe 5% of the time actually doing something with golf balls, and the rest of the time what you're doing is talking and getting to know people and really doing relationship building. That's the most important part. Being out in the sun and being where things smell great and seeing the birds and the animals and stuff, that's another great part of it.
Thank you. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I know it's common sense. I know you all know this. This is nothing new. But think about how excited we now are about sailing or playing golf or hiking. What is causing your nervousness? You can surmount if you start practicing with things that you're comfortable with. If you're talking about something that you know, you don't have to think about what is the next thing I need to say. It'll flow off your tongue totally comfortably. You're not going to have to go, oh, what am I supposed to say next? Once you surmount that fear, then you start applying it to the area or the field that you're not so comfortable with. Does that make sense? I'll use a personal story. I used to work for FICO across the street, and I had to sell a brand new product. I was a nervous wreck during my first presentation, and it was a webinar. My clients weren't even in the room. And I had a professional trainer sitting right next to me. Double nervousness, because the people I spoke to had no clue what I was talking about. So even if I made a mistake, they wouldn't know. However, the person sitting next to me, or your boss, or whomever it may be, knew exactly what the material was. She said I did a great job. My mistake, I was talking too fast. I wasn't breathing. So that's where I came up with these things to tell you. Breathe and don't talk too fast. How do you describe yourself? Here are 4 examples, and I won't read them to you, but look at the words that are underlined. Some of you may be more comfortable with what you do, the people you hang out with, what you know when we were talking about our hobbies, or the surroundings of working conditions. When people ask me what I want to do, I have to work with people. Put me in a corner with a computer and I can't function. So when you speak about yourself, find the environment and the words that work for you. We're not all the same. Can you multitask? Can you shift your attention from one thing to the other? Can you manage a project from beginning to end? Do you see where I'm going? Go back, build on these theories, and begin writing a profile of your qualifications. Write them down. Keep these in your thoughts when you speak. Think of adjectives and adverbs. Remember when people tell you when you write your resume, use action verbs? Same idea here. Use adjectives and adverbs. You'll come up with your own traits. And then you'll be comfortable doing it in 15 seconds. So to your point, when you're no longer speaking about golf or sailing or whatever it may be, once you do this exercise again and again and again, you can come up and do it in 15 seconds without second thoughts. Attitude is the other thing I want you to remember. 2 people put in the same situation will react differently based on their attitude, especially in unpleasant situations. Flat tire on the highway, people are smiling, whatever the unpleasant situation is, having to get up and speak about yourself. If you don't want to do that, it may be unpleasant to you, but with the right attitude, it would make a huge difference. So in the instance where you're put in a situation to sell yourself and speak publicly, one person will be traumatized. You can see it in their physical behavior. And others will raise their hand, may I please go first? I love this, let me do it first. Perception. There's the concept. Every situation is perceived differently by all of us in this room. Some situations are out of your control, so don't fret. You can't do anything about the situation. There's no point getting nervous about it. Others have optional solutions. Think about your options. Again, simple, real simple. Put it into practice. Within your control. Quote unquote, even when you feel utterly powerless, you must work on what is within your control, even if it's only 2%. So you think it's hard to sell yourself. With a proper attitude, you will find new options that are within your control. Think about everything we said today, and think about how much you can control next time you have to do an elevator pitch. Courage. It takes a lot of courage to get up and speak about yourself. Try something new. When you go to a restaurant, do you always order the same thing? The point point is, if you don't try a new food on the menu a la carte, you'll never know if you like whatever it is you've picked that day. Same here. Try something new and it may become your favorite thing to do. So, courage, don't forget. We're at the end of my speech. I would like to ask 2 people to come up and speak, preferably the same 2 if they'd like to, applying what I've spoke about today. And if they don't, 2 others. Would you be willing to say it again and try to apply some of the things I did or said? Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
I'm an executive assistant with background in software, asset management, and real estate. And what I do is to help my boss do his job better, primarily by taking a lot of the onerous chores off of his desk and doing it for him.
I am a IT consulting professional. I am looking for something in the healthcare industry.
Go ahead again. Go ahead again. Keep on going.
I'm looking for something in the IT health industry, specifically companies like Kaiser or any local HMO company.
Did you notice he stopped, took a breather, instead of humming? He's already made a huge progress in the last 45 minutes or the last 5 minutes. So has today's presentation made a difference to anyone in this room?
Oh, yeah.
I'm at the end of my presentation, so I'm open for questions, comments. Check out my website. Yes to your success.